Does anyone in the audience have any public communication they'd like to put out this morning before we get started? All right. We'll begin with our consent agenda. On page 10, we have Goliad Auto Parts for $263.55. Need a motion to approve, please.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I abstain.
Motion carries. On page 12, Commissioner Edwards, $549.70. Need a motion to approve, please.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I abstain.
Motion carries. Page 14, Commissioner White, $400.78. Motion to approve, please.
So moved.
Second.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The remainder of the consent agenda, does we have any comments, questions?
Yes, Judge, I do. If I may get some clarification, please, on
Yes,
some
sir.
few items. On the page 5 of your AP checklist, I just had a question on, there's a couple of bills paid out to Mid-Coast Auto Parts, for $1,380. Those are both exactly the same. Why they're exactly the same? Do we have
There were two different invoices.
exactly the same?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But it's usually towing, it has to be wrecking fees, so they're all usually about the same. I think towing of vehicles or something maybe.
Okay,
So there were two different invoices.
exactly the same. Okay, then on, there's 3 other items that I noticed here on the checklist, that they were being paid out of contingent uncommitted fund.
Those are COVID-19 expenses, we're bundling them all there so we can keep track of them, and they can be reclassed at any time if that's where all the COVID-19 expenses are being allocated to right now.
Okay, and then that fund's gonna be reimbursed when we get the monies back from the state, is that correct?
That is correct.
And that's gonna be before the end of the budget year, I'm guessing?
I would hope so.
Okay,
No way to know.
no way to know. Okay,
You know, never get anything.
that's true.
Counties may take them before we do.
That's true. There's other people that are worse shape than we are. Okay, so I wasn't aware that we were taking them out of contingent and uncommitted.
There's no other place to put it. This was, this came up. We have no way, we didn't know we were gonna have this virus, so it was certainly a surprise. I guess you could say it was an emergency expenditure. We had no other place to
Okay,
plug it in at.
so we've been taking them out ever since whatever ones have been coded to COVID-19, you've been taking them out of the contingent and uncommitted fund?
And our total expenses have been, pretty low compared to most places. We've had some overtime in relation to the EMS.
Right.
Because we had to quarantine some people.
Right.
Therefore, we had to make up for their pay spots. So, overall, we're probably less than $20,000.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's not a whole lot, but it is.
It's minimal, but it's money.
We can send you a schedule of what those expenses are.
Okay.
Some of this stuff that's been taken out of, or put in there, is that for over and above what we normally, normally like, I guess what I'm trying to say is all this stuff, this aerosol and disinfectant that we're buying, is that over and above what we normally buy, or are we just putting anything that's in that category into that 727 line there?
We have definitely bought things that this county's never bought before.
Well, I understand, but then there's some stuff in there, I'm wondering if it's not a kind of a daily deal that now we're putting it under that.
I'll tell you the truth, I do not know about every bottle of disinfectant and so forth. We have to have a place to park all the COVID-related expenses, so they chose to put it in contingent and uncommitted. Hopefully we get offers weekly from governmental organizations saying they're gonna reimburse on some of this. Do we know when we're gonna get it? No. Like the treasurer said, do we know if we're ever gonna get it? No. But they're saying we're gonna get it, and we've applied, so.
Yeah, as long as we've applied for that funding.
We absolutely have.
Okay.
So if there are no other, I'm sorry, do you have another question?
No, sir.
Need a motion to approve the consent agenda, please?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, I'm gonna skip down to, agenda item number 9. We have, the outside auditor, Steve Van Manen, this morning. He's gonna make his presentation. Commissioner's Court has been supplied his books, his report. Do you need one?
I do.
Okay. Steve?
Thanks, Judge. Members of the court, we appreciate the opportunity to be here. Judge, how much time do I have? Just
Enough to make sure that everyone understands what you're trying to convey, sir.
Okay.
We're under no time
I didn't know what
constraints.
kind of schedule y'all had up this morning, so I didn't want to take up too much time. But I just want to have a copy of the report. Okay. Now, as y'all recall, last fall, when we started this process, it was determined by the court that we were going to do just what's called a balance sheet only audit, to expedite the process. The last time the county had a full scope audit was for the year ended September 30th, 2016. And so due to, turnover, software issues, et cetera, it was deemed to be too much of an effort to try to go back and do those full scope audits for 17 and 18, and just do the balance sheet only audit for 19 to have a good, clean starting point moving forward. Now, in the front of the document, there is a letter on our firm's letterhead. Now, this is the auditor's opinion. And the opinion is on the balance sheet only. At the bottom of that page, there's a paragraph where it says, in our opinion, the financial statement referred to above presents fairly in all material respects. Now, this is what's called a clean opinion for the county. From a CPA's perspective, the clean opinion is the highest form of assurance that we can give the county that this financial statement is correct. There's actually, 4 different types of opinions that an auditor could give the county on the financial statement. And the clean opinion is the best. Now, there's what's called a modified opinion, where our opinion could say, in our opinion, these financial statements are correct except for, and then we would describe a modification to what would be called GAAP. The third type of opinion, what's called an adverse opinion. Whereas this would state, in our opinion, these financial statements are not presented fairly, and then explain why there would be a misstatement. And the fourth type of opinion is what's called a disclaimer of opinion, where it says that we don't have enough information to make a conclusion whether these are right or wrong. So the clean opinion, again, is the type of opinion that the county has received in the past, is the type of opinion that you want to receive on your financial statement. Now, going forward, we certainly anticipate that we'll go back to the full scope audit, which will include not only the balance sheet, but also the statement of revenues and expenditures. Now, starting on page 3, the financial statement that's laid out is just the balance sheet. Now, this is the assets, liabilities, and equity of all the different funds of the county as of September 30th, 2019. Now, starting at the left-hand side, we have the general fund. We have 4 regular road and bridge funds, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then we have the special precinct funds, the special assessment tax for road and bridge, and all the other governmental funds in a single column on the right. One thing I want to convey is really not so much just what the balances are as of 9/30/19, but how they've changed since the last time that the county was audited, a full scope audit as of September 30th, 2016. At the general fund, down towards the bottom, the section titled Fund Balances. Now, at 9/30/19, the general fund balances was $1,500,650,000. Now, from a 4-year period, this is a 75% decline from what the fund balance was as of 9/30/16. That's significant. Fund balance is going down 75%. Now, we're down below what would be considered a minimum fund balance threshold of 25%. This fund balance, based upon the 2016 expenditures, this would be a 22% fund balance. Now, that's not also, not taking into consideration that we have other funds that are in deficit positions as of 9/30/19 that will have to be made up. Now, you bring those into the equation, the general fund may be below a 10% fund balance. So that's a significant decline, in 4 years. Now, looking at the road and bridge fund, precinct 1, that fund balance is 25% of its actual fund, or its actual annual expenditures. So that's right there, that's the minimum. That is a decrease, though, of $40,000 in the last 4 years. Precinct 2, that's a fund balance of $560,907. That's an increase of that's a fund balance percent of 127% of your annual operating cost. It's significantly higher than the minimum of 25. And that increase in fund balance from 9/30/16 to 9/30/19 was an increase of $218,000. Precinct 3, the fund balance, $1,408,577. That's 3 times the annual operating expenses. That's a 301% fund balance of your annual operating expenses. And precinct 4, and that's a $700,000 increase in fund balance since 9/30/16. Precinct 4, the fund balance is 198% of the annual cost, again with an increase in 4 years of $500,000. So, the reason I'm bringing that up, that decrease in the general fund, looking at the increase in the other funds, it doesn't make up for the entire decrease. Precinct 1, 2, 3, and 4 had an increase in fund balance, but not enough to offset the decrease in the general fund. So you can see that the resources that the general fund had received in the last 4 years were not sufficient to pay its annual cost, resulting in this significant decline in its fund balance. Whereas the resources received by the road and bridge funds were in excess of what needed to be used to pay their operating expenses. Now, this doesn't even take into consideration the special precinct assessment tax that was done, I think, about 3 years ago. So that's an additional $700,000 that the county has accumulated over that time frame. The general fund can be made whole again, but it's significantly lower than what it should be at 9/30/19. Now, that can be made up, by a combination of actions that the court could take. For instance, the allocation of taxes to the different precincts could be modified, leaving a higher percentage to go to the general fund to bring that fund balance up to an appropriate level. So that is an option I think that you all can choose in this upcoming budget. Now, so in looking at the biggest cost in the general fund, the biggest cost is public safety. The sheriff's department and EMS. Those are the 2 largest costs that the county has to carry in the fund. And I've seen other counties that have had similar issues, especially in regards to the EMS, because its charges can't cover its costs. It's just not feasible for the EMS fees to cover what the operating expense for an EMS department. But I have seen other counties successfully eliminate that problem, that deficit, by adopting what's called an emergency services district, where you create a separate entity that can levy a tax to pay for the operations of the emergency services, the EMS. Again, that's an option that the county commissioners have, reallocation of the ad valorem taxes from the road and bridge back to the general fund for future budgets can be of an assistance to offset this decline that's all occurred over the last several years. Now, this audit was completed probably about 3 weeks ago. We've had some conversations with the judge and Rusty about, some different ideas, and hopefully y'all have some questions this morning that we can discuss. And I'll certainly, if there are any, I'll attempt to answer them. Now, back on the financial statement, page 3 and 4, total cash for the county governmental funds was $6.8 million as of 9/30/19. You had receivables, which is comprised of taxes receivable, fines receivable, due from other governments, which is primarily due from grants and things, that you had a $43,000, accounts payable, accrued expenses, an amount payable to the state, a little over $62,000. So there's also footnotes in the report that starts on page 5. And the footnotes run through, since this is only a balance sheet audit, this report is certainly abbreviated from reports that y'all have seen in previous years. The footnotes run from page 5 through page 11. I do encourage the commissioners to review this, and if y'all have questions after today, please call me. If y'all would like me to come back to a future meeting and address any questions that may come up, I'd be happy to do that also.
Steve, can you go into our cash situation with making it through the remainder of the year until tax receipts start coming in the last week or so of December?
It's going to be difficult from the standpoint of where the fund balance is. Now, this is as of 9/30/19. Now, where we are today, we're probably lower than that amount. I'm not sure exactly what the fund balance is as of today. I think, judging from conversations, we indicated that we're anticipating having a fairly break-even budget for the current year, which means that our fund balance should not go down significantly as of 9/30/20. Now, if it does, though, we've got 25% of operating expenses is what typically a minimum fund balance is. And in y'all's case, that makes a lot of sense because your year end being September 30th, your ad valorem taxes really don't start coming in strong until the latter part of December and January. So you've got the month of October, November, and December to cover your operating expenses out of your fund balance before the significant tax revenue year. That's why that 25% is valid. But it's going to be tight this year unless things can change. And there are options to make up for those shortfalls, and I say shortfalls, temporary shortfalls. You can do borrowings from other funds, to fund the general fund. You can borrow money from the road and bridge fund. You can borrow money, you can take out what's called tax anticipation notes at your depository. So there are methods to offset a temporary shortfall in your cash position to meet operating expenses.
You say road and bridge, you mean the special road and bridge or road and bridge?
Road and bridge general, regular.
Just a regular ad valorem side?
Right.
Since we're talking about road and bridge, the road and bridge general fund, if there's any excess at the end of the fiscal year, that just rolls back into the general fund, correct?
No, that hasn't occurred. Because it's evident that it hadn't occurred because of the increase in the fund balance in all the road and bridge funds and the decrease in the general fund.
But is there any prohibition of that rolling back into?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
But
the special road and bridge, that.
you can't.
I'm sorry.
I'm just trying to figure out if there's excess.
There is excess in the road and bridge precincts.
And so those could be rolled into the general fund at the end of the year.
Not all of it.
It's just a portion that is attributable to the ad valorem tax collection. So now, what the difficult part is how much of the ad valorem taxes did we collect, did we spend? Because there's not that direct identification because we're getting all kind of fees in the road and bridge fund.
Right.
So what revenues were used to fund the specific expenses in that fund each year? Now, the excess, which would be very difficult to determine now for 17, 18, maybe even 19, because we don't have a specific identification of tax dollars coming in, tax dollars being used. I mean, it's all going in the pot. So, yeah, can it be done? Probably. Is it easy to do? Not at all. You know, but there could be some effort. I don't know, Rusty, what kind of records that you would feel you're comfortable with and trying to make that determination.
Well, we've got the lateral road and those expenses are segregated.
So we can take the funds that have come in, lateral road funds. We can take license receipts, tags, things of that nature, and separate those from the ad valorem tax, determine which monies have been spent on lateral roads, and with the lateral road fund and the tax receipts, the license plates receipts, and the remainder of it being the ad valorem could return back into the general fund, which is where it needs to be, because we are in really bad shape. All the money is in the precinct camps, and the general fund of Goliad County is estimated to be around $3 million on 5/30. With our spending habits and our spending history, knowing that the commissioners buy a lot of materials between now and the end of the year, we have several $80,000 premiums due for general liability insurance and auto insurance. There's a couple other things that are large ticket items. We simply don't have any money in our general fund to operate with.
I think all discretionary funding just needs to be examined until we can get this general fund balance back to where it needs to be.
Here in Goliad County, we don't have a lot of discretionary funding. We run a very tight, very, very tight ship.
That was the purpose of my question, trying to figure out how we could get some money in the general fund and get it to the end of December. Because I was just trying to see how we can make that work.
It's possible.
Yeah, there's an aging opinion that specifies that to begin.
So just the Reader's Digest version is, if we can determine what monies are in the precinct general funds now, and we can leave the license tags and the lateral road funds, then there's no barrier that would keep us from moving all the remainder ad valorem back into the general fund.
That's my understanding.
What would be the percentage that you would say we should have in reserves optimal
Well,
to make it through the end of the year?
look, the 25% is your minimum. You know, certainly up to 40% would, you know, certainly be a lot better, but 25% would be your minimum. You know, the terms of, you know, what is the correct number for a general fund balance? Really a function of what your plans are. 25%, that specifically refers to working capital, the payment of current monthly operating expenses. Now, there's always a need to have an amount over and above the 25%. You know, certainly for contingencies. I'm not sure how significant Hurricane Harvey hit y'all in regards to debris remediation, et cetera, but, you know, those storms happen often and that's a very expensive recovery. So that's a big reason why a county located along the Gulf Coast would be money over and above the working capital of 25%. And the other reason that you want to have additional working capital in general fund is to fund for one-time significant capital outlay items, as opposed to borrowing money, incurring debt to do a project. You build that fund balance up and you pay for it to alleviate any payment of interest for a project. So those are your three primary reasons: working capital, contingencies, storms, et cetera, fire, and capital projects. And if that number was 50%, it wouldn't be too high. But 25%, I'll consider the minimum.
One more question. Do we have a fund that's kind of like a savings account? Do we have a fund? I've always been told there's like several $1 million hanging out in it.
There's not a fund there. Y'all receive the proceeds from the sale of the air parks every year.
Right.
That's a couple million, 1.8.
Right.
Okay, now that's included in the general fund already. It's included in that balance of 1,765,000.
Okay, so when we have total of government funds, it says 7.5, that's on page 4.
Well, it's, okay, the top line is 6,857,000. That's the
Okay,
cash.
that's how much cash we have in.
On the governmental funds for all funds of the county, not just one account, your CDs, your.
No, I understand, that's kind of like, part of that 6.8 is
It's your part.
the air park fund.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would there be any prohibition of going into that fund if we needed to finish out the last 4?
Well, it's included already in that 1.5 million. And the general fund, the fund balance, that includes the air park cash.
It's been spent.
Yeah, see, the total cash for the general fund is 1,765,810,000. On the left-hand column, right here.
Okay.
Now, that's the general fund cash, which includes the air park money of about 1.8. So all the other cash of the general fund has already been spent. We've already dipped into that air park reserve.
So, well, then I'm having trouble understanding all of that. At the end of September of 2019.
Yes, sir.
We had 6.8 million.
That's for all funds.
Right.
General fund, all the road and bridge, being regular and special, plus the other governmental funds,
Right.
which is 911 such. Total cash countywide was 6,857,000.
Okay.
I think the simple way to say it is we have taken the lion's share of our dollars since 2015 or before and transferred it into the individual precincts. Plus we had a run of deficit spending from 2015 to 19 that totaled $5,800,000 in deficit spending. In other words, we spent $5,808,000 out of our savings, which the air park would be included in that during that period of time. And the remainder of it, a lot of the remainder of it was transferred into the precinct accounts. And the county general fund is just short.
Yeah.
Really, I think what needs to happen is we need to transfer everything that's not lateral or special road and bridge or license plate receipts, everything that is ad valorem taxes that is resting in the precinct camps, it needs to go back into the general fund so that we can operate. The money needs to be parked in the general fund, not in the precinct camps, because it does us no good. If we went out for a bond election today, we would have a hard time getting a bond because we don't have any money in the bank. That prospect would look a lot better if the money was in general fund as opposed to the precinct accounts. It's a difficult situation and it demands some action.
It certainly needs to be addressed, and really, this group right here are the folks responsible for getting it done. It's the Commissioner's Court responsibility to, let's get this fixed.
Any other questions, gentlemen?
I think what Rob's getting at is why is the number lower that I guess that top month number, the 6.8 million is lower than the 7.5 million that you say we have now. Is that?
7.5.
Yeah, you got the total government fund over here.
Total asset, 7,805,889. But then we have cash of 6.8, receivables of 566, other receivables 121, and then due from other governments of 43,000, so that's a 7.5. It's not just cash. It's cash of 6.8 plus another 700,000 of other assets.
I guess my point though is, we had $6.8 million on September 30th. The Commissioners Court adopted a new budget on October, went in effect on October 1, the very next day. And that was a balanced budget. Revenue and expenses equal. Right? Let's assume that. Let's assume that. So that as long as the expenses come in as budgeted, and as long as the revenue comes in as budget, why wouldn't we be at the end of September 30th, 2020 with 6.8?
You would. Of which the general fund though is still at 1.7. That's the fund that we're talking about with the problem.
No, I understand. I'm just thinking,
The cash is in the road and bridge fund.
yeah, and I got that.
Yeah.
I just didn't want to think that we were running out of money.
If we can justify moving that back to the general fund,
Right.
then we can fix the problem.
We're not out of money, sir. It's in the wrong place.
No, I.
And it doesn't give us credit for going out and making a loan, making a bond election for a new building of some sort.
The cash is there, but it's going through the calculation of the logistics to get it back to where it needs to be. Now, and part of it going forward, without having to do a calculation, is that when you'll do the allocation of that belong tax to the different locations, you'll have the ability to make that allocation based upon what your desires are. It doesn't have to be necessarily what last year was, or the year before. You can allocate lion's share of that ad valorem tax to the general fund. And I have to go through this operation that we have to now of saying how much of the prior year ad valorem taxes have actually been spent, how much do we keep, how much is eligible to reimburse. So there's lots of options.
Yeah, and I'm not arguing with what you're pointing out. I think that's very good. I'm just curious, can that 6.8 be used for instance, a special project? If the Commissioners Court decided to take that money?
The answer is probably, but it's an amount. That has to be determined, and that's what Rusty was referring to as AG opinion. You can take excess ad valorem taxes that have been allocated to the road and bridge and move them back. But it's a calculation of what is the excess, and we calculate the excess. And that's really the question that we have to deal with. And once that is determined, if we have an amount that is eligible to be moved, well, then yeah, it could be used for any legal project.
Okay. And I assume you've done a lot of outside audits on county.
I've done several counties. I've never had a situation that we would address this particular issue
Okay.
in terms of having to go through the calculation of determining an excess. Typically, the allocation is made up front. That's what we use, and we just go forward. Haven't seen an issue where any county has reimbursed the general fund after the fact,
Okay.
even though it may be eligible.
And then one other thing, have you ever seen, I mean, let's assume our operating budget is 6.8 million. Have you ever seen at the end of the year, $6.8 million? In other words, a year's worth of operation in savings from any county you've audited?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Now, for instance, in the general fund, regular, for instance, in road and bridge number 3, we've got 3 years worth of operating expenses in the fund balance. In road and bridge 4, we've got 2 years worth of operating expenses in fund balance. 2, we have 127%, so that's a year and 3 months of operating expenses in the balance. Now, the one that's only below is the 361, and that's at 25%, which is the,
So Steve, if you had a preference, how would you recommend we proceed?
well, I would certainly take advantage of the option to calculate the excess fund balance that's in the road and bridge and move it back. And then if there's still going to be a shortfall, I don't know what that amount might be, but if there is still a shortfall, then come this fall, when y'all are allocating your 2020 tax dollars, you have to take that into consideration of how much more you're gonna want to continue to allocate to road and bridge versus leaving that in the general fund.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess a combination of both, Judge.
Commissioner White, you have any additional questions? Steve?
Not here.
He's not here.
Sorry, Edwards, they look alike. We all got white hair. So,
I do have.
okay, go ahead.
On, page 6, it says here that the special road funds account for the proceeds of specific revenue sources. Down at the bottom, it says it's the county's policy to use restricted resources first, and then unrestricted resources.
Now, the road and bridge, technically, are all restricted. You know, if you look at the balance sheet on page 3 and 4, the fund balance,
Yes,
there's two categories, restricted and then what's called unassigned.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so all the fund balance for the road and bridge are restricted.
Yes, I understand.
Okay.
What my question is the big plus to me for the special road and bridge tax is we save it for bigger projects.
Mm-hmm.
If I have to spend it first, that throws that option out the window. As far as, you know, I may have a $400,000 road I need to build. It's gonna take me a couple of years to come up with that money.
Right.
So the road and bridge tax, I can say the general fund side of the road and bridge, at the end of the year, it goes back into the budget and we do what we do to get our budget
It's
closed.
eligible to go back to the general fund. It's not required. It's eligible. You can accumulate resources in the road and bridge over a period of time. It just, what we're talking about as far as using that excess, if that becomes eligible to be moved back. Typically, road and bridge funds are restricted for road and bridge purposes, period.
Yes, sir. But from year to year.
Right, from year to year. If you have an excess, you can certainly keep it in the road and bridge if you choose to, which is what has happened here. But it is eligible to be returned if you can calculate the excess, and that's where we're at today, is making that
Now
calculation.
you're talking the general fund can be returned.
The
The special funds stays in there.
It can be returned to the general fund.
Yes, sir.
Right.
But what my problem with this is, the way this reads, our policy is to spend the restricted funds first. That's the special road and bridge tax.
Yeah, because everything in the special road and bridge, or everything in the road and bridge, period, are restricted.
Both sides of the
Both
special.
sides, the regular and the special, they're both restricted for road and bridge, but there is a provision that you have the ability to unrestrict that portion of what's eligible to go back to the general fund. But the remainder is restricted. What stays there is restricted. So you're always spending restricted first in the road and bridge funds. Because 100% of special revenue monies are restricted for a specific purpose. Whatever the source. You know, the reason for a special revenue fund is that's where you put resources that the use of which are determined by a third party. A state, a granting agency, et cetera. You know, they decide and pass the law to say, here is what you can use this money for. And that's not the county deciding what they can use the money for. That's the general fund. But everything in the special revenue fund, regardless of whether it's a road bridge, a federal road, a special, there's multiple grant funds that you have. Again, all those proceeds are restricted by a third party. And that's why those fund balances are designated as restricted.
So just so I'm clear,
Okay.
we, right now, our current, since I've been in, at the end of the year, we turn our general fund, all our money that we have left over in our precincts, goes back to the general fund.
Have Laurel,
That's
sorry.
not occurred.
That hadn't occurred,
Hasn't
sir.
occurred.
That's the reason that, Mr. White and Mr. Bruns are millionaires in their precincts.
Well,
That's on the
You can see
special
these
side.
balances.
That's on the special road and bridge.
No,
It's the general.
it's a
I
general,
was under the impression all along that money was going back to balance the budget at the end of the year.
so was I.
that did not occur.
It did not occur. So if y'all didn't know you had it, then just give it back and life will be good. And that's what I'm here asking for. We don't have any funds.
Let me back up.
How did that happen? I mean,
Turn back to page 3 and 4.
Sir?
Here's how it happened. You've got 5 years of budgets that were deficit budgets. Going back to 2015. In 2015, you had a deficit of $599,000. 2016, $1,186,000. 17, $1,305,000. 18, $1,312,000. 19, $1,405,000. That 5-year period is $5.8 billion.
How much is,
5.808280.
how much is 2019 deficit? 1 million?
1.405.
That was your budget,
No, sir, I had the 20.
huh?
That was
Mine was the 20.
prior to his last budget. That's not, that we had to file.
Well, you were elected in 2018, you took office January 1.
I took office in January of 19, and the budget was
Oh,
formed.
yeah, right. I got it.
My budget versus actual that I got at the end of, September, or for the end of September, says that, 96% of my budget was, exhausted, and I still had, 15,000, so that 15,000 went back to budgets that were over budgeted or whatever.
It went into your account and your precinct account. You have,
But we've never seen that account
We always start the year off with
with what we get in the budget.
none of us were aware we had let's just call it a bank.
nor was I. And you can see you can see this issue. You can see the issue. Every year it went up significantly. And everything that you didn't use, whether it was ad valorem tax, road and bridge, or license plates, tag fees, things of that nature, what you didn't spend in precinct 1 general operating fund stayed there. And what we need to do is to develop a policy to see to it that it goes back every year.
Oh, I thought it was.
We
I got that.
talked about that because we had talked about, before we did the special road and bridge, about, keeping the budget that we had left for special reasons, whether it be, equipment blowing up or bridges going out and roads. But, it was always told to us it was returned.
The special is not in question here. You have your special, what you thought you had. The regular budget is the problem. We're in dire straits here, guys, and we just need to get the money that we all thought should have been returned to be returned. If you'll look at this, I think this is gonna clear. Give one, Mr. Bramall.
So why at the beginning of the year of 2020, the beginning of 2019, let's say, I had $433,000. That was my budget. So how can I have extra money that you're saying that was left over from the years before when the line says that? That's what I don't get. Why was that line brought up to what you're saying?
If you look at this top sheet here, okay? In 2014, September 30th, 2014, you had a total of $165,365 in the precinct 4 road and bridge account. And it went to 206, 433, 784, 1.192 million, 1.063 million, and this year at 531 you had 1.254. So in a 7-year period, you went from $165,000 to $1.2 million in just your bank account. And I know that y'all didn't realize it was happening. I wasn't aware of it either, but we are aware now. So all I'm saying is, everything on this side of the ledger, the regular road and bridge, if we can move it back into the general fund, except for the special lateral roads and others, then we'll be okay. But the way it is now, we can't make a loan on a new car hardly, because we have such a low cash fund balance. See, none of this money counts as far as what we show as available cash is spent. Because right now, everything that's under precinct 4, it's totally up to Commissioner Bruns to decide what he's gonna do with that money. It's in his account, just like 1 and 2 and.
Why weren't we ever reported to that we had this money? Because obviously.
This occurred before my watch, sir. I won't even speculate on it.
We've been here a year and a half.
I have been here a year and a half, and I just got the audit and I'm here. But none of these deficit budgets
I think that's where.
don't even go there.
So the money's still in the taxpayer's account.
Not necessarily. During that period of time, sir, you spent $6 million more. You had $6 million worth of debt.
But I didn't spend it.
Yes, you did. That's where, okay. You were 1/5 of the persons that spent it. I don't have a duplicate copy of this here, but Rusty read it off. In 2015, you had a $600,000 deficit, which means we took in $600,000 less than we spent.
But it's that same $600,000 deficit. How much did they credit the precincts to that we thought was going back to that deficit?
The $698,000, it's gone. It's spent.
I don't know.
No, it's not spent.
But what I'm getting at.
Okay, I have to get everybody on the same page here. You agree it's spent, and you agree it is spent, sir.
No, sir. I hadn't spent it.
I didn't say you spent it. You as a court spent it on other things.
That was our deficit.
That was your deficit.
For the whole year.
But
Okay, for the whole year. Regardless of however you want to phrase it, that 2015, you had a $598,000 deficit. And it increased all the way up to 2019, which was $1.4 million deficit. And everything in between. That money is East 12. It's gone. It's spent.
But you're telling me I have this money.
I'm telling you,
$1.2 million.
in your account.
So it's not spent. Am I right or wrong?
You're wrong. I'm gonna try one more time. These numbers here.
1.2, but you have spent $6 million.
That's the deficits,
Not out of your personal account or your
Not-
precinct account. The whole county has spent a deficit spending of $6 million.
Let me inject another way. During this period of time, from 2014 to 2019, the precinct camps were getting more money than they could spend. And it was the leftovers that went in these bank accounts. If you were given $10 and you spent $5, the $5 that was left over went into your precinct 4 account. Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm going to keep.
So I have an account out there.
You have a line item. No, you don't have a checking account.
No,
You have a line item, and on your line item, this represents your line items from 14 through 20. So all this money that's on the standard, regular road and bridge, there's a good argument to be made that during that 6-year period, you received this much money too much. In other words, if you needed $10 to make it through the whole year and you got 20, and you got $10 too much. Well, that extra $10 stayed in your account, except we're not talking about $10. We're talking about tens of thousands of dollars.
But it's sitting in my account right now.
It is, and I'm asking you to transfer.
But my account is Goliad County's account. Am I right?
No,
I'm gonna ask Steve.
No, it's the county money.
it's county money.
Now, what, the difference here is that the $6 million deficit, that's the general fund. Okay, the road and bridge precincts over the last 4 years, is what I've got, is that the road and bridge precinct 1, the fund balance, went down 40,000. Precinct 2, the fund balance over that same period, went up 218,000. Precinct 3 fund balance went up 717,000, and precinct 4, the increase in fund balance was 534,000. So while this fund took a deficit, general fund took a deficit, these 4 funds had a significant surplus.
Exactly.
Right, but it's still all county funds.
Exactly.
It's just not in the column or the funds where it needs to be. It's just in the road and bridge fund versus the general.
To put it another way, Lee cannot, or Brian cannot issue checks for all this, any of this money, because it's your money. You have control over it. You're the department head over precinct 4. She can't write a check on any of this. And all I'm saying is, you didn't know you had it. It shouldn't have been left in there to begin with. And the right thing to do is to segregate the funds, figure out what was dedicated monies, and return the rest of it so that we'll have some operating capital. We don't have any.
Which we thought was being done.
Yes, sir.
Back
So if you thought it was in there, no harm, no foul. Let's just transfer it back and move on to the next one.
And this was being done back when Judge Bowman was in, and
Yes, sir.
they saw a big deficit in the year, so they decided to return all these dollars to the general fund to balance their budget.
Right.
And at that point, it was thought, I guess, that every year did the same. It followed suit after that those monies were not
It did.
accumulated. They were always sent back to general fund to balance the budget.
I'm not interested in blaming Mr. Bowman or Mr. Calhoun.
That's when it happened.
What I'm interested in doing is just moving the money back. Everyone was in the impression it was staying in those accounts. We don't have enough money to operate.
And that is the reason we wanted the special road and bridge back, so we could have a little savings to buy a piece of equipment or repairs on roads that we could not foresee because we thought our budget was our budget.
Right.
Exactly.
So now that everyone is on the same page and we understand.
I've got one question.
All right.
Obviously, there was a mistake back starting whenever, that the Commissioners Court was under the impression that at the end of the fiscal year, the balances in those regular road and bridge funds was being transferred in, and that was not happening. So my question is, who can the Commissioners Court look to make sure that's happening? Is it the treasurer, is it the auditor, or both?
Probably a combination, sure.
Okay.
Yeah. First of all, it's determining the assets.
Right.
You know, that takes some time. We can't just look at a cash balance of 9/30 of 20 compared to 9/30 of 19 and say that difference is, it's more involved. You know, we got receivables and payables and expenses and on a cash basis that has to be calculated.
Right.
But at the time that the audit is completed, and you actually have not just a balance sheet, but you also have what's called a statement of revenues and expenses that displays what the debt sales or deficit is. Okay, then you can make that calculation. Now, it gets complicated from the standpoint that included in revenues is revenues other than ad valorem taxes. It's just the ad valorem tax excess that's eligible to be returned. All the other special fees that get collected by the road and bridge are not eligible to be returned to the general fund. But it is a calculation, it's a process that should be done each year, as soon as possible.
And that's what I'm trying to get to, so that the Commissioners Court can check out up on it to make sure it's done, is when we near the end of our fiscal year in September, we ought to be looking very hard at, or the commission court should be looking very hard at, the treasurer and the auditor determining what ad valorem tax is not expended in the regular road and bridge fund to transfer that on September.
Probably needs to be a monthly report that reflects that. I don't see the issue in doing that at all.
There could be a report that's created to do that.
Okay. I'm just trying to see how the commissioners court can get accountability, because obviously they thought, based on what I'm hearing this morning, that that was being done, and
Well, when it was first brought to my attention, I mean, I immediately said, that's not being done.
I know that.
You could see very clearly from the face of the financial statement, when you have such a significant decline in the general fund and an increase in the road and bridge, that wasn't happening. So why, I can't answer that. Why?
No, I was misled to believe that the money was going back into the general fund to work on the deficit for the year, because we knew we passed a deficit budget at the first of the year. A lot of us would intentionally save money during the year we could have spent to turn back in to help balance.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I don't think you, for whatever reason, the whole story wasn't gonna coming in, because between 2015 and 19, there in fact was $5.8 million in deficit spending, which has no relationship at all to the money that stayed in your accounts. It has absolutely no relationship. The two do not meet. So the fix, correct me if I'm wrong, is to make a motion to transfer all the ad valorem, remainder of the ad valorem money back into the general fund.
That's not on the agenda. This is a presentation.
Right, this is a presentation,
Right.
so we'll have to do that next time. You're right, there's no discussion action, but that's what needs to happen. That's the only way we're gonna fix it. I'm not asking for a lot, I'm just asking for,
The only other thing I want to make sure I'm clear on, the restricted funds and special road and bridge.
What's this?
Restricted. The unrestricted is that form. And by this statement that says we, as a county policy to spend, to use the restricted resources first. That's our special road and bridge tax.
Anything that you don't spend out of the road and bridge.
Anything on the ad valorem side or the special road and bridge tax is all restricted, all that's restricted.
Well, what's the unrestricted then on here? We have, when both restricted and unrestricted.
100% of your fund balance in the road and bridge is restricted. It's restricted. Now, you have the ability, by an action of the court, because of the AG opinion, to return that to the general fund, which now makes it unrestricted. But while it's in the road and bridge fund, the only applicable use of that money is for road and bridge activity. You can't pay sheriff's department salaries out of the road and bridge fund. If you want to use the road and bridge for sheriff's department salaries, you move it back to the general fund because it's excess at the moment. Then you can use it for whatever legal purpose you want.
The people, that's the impression, because 2 years ago, they budgeted only $50,000 in our ad valorem side of the road and bridge fund. That's all we had to work with that year. $50,000 plus the other line items in the budget.
We weren't aware we had anything in the bank.
We kept it at that.
nor were we.
I do want to caution the court on one point. You know, the last 4 years, I'm not going to use this 5.8, 5.5 adjustment, since the beginning of 16, the fund balance in the general fund has gone down $4.5 million. The increase in the road and bridge funds has only gone up $1.8 million. So the entire increase in the road and bridge precinct over that same period of time will eliminate that $4.5 million deficit. Now, it'll get us back at where we've got a hole we're in now, but it won't eliminate that deficit. So there has to be some other action going forward, because this surplus that we generated would not offset the deficit that we incurred. It will help to a large extent, but there still has to be some further action taken by the court to make sure that on an annual basis, this trend that we've seen for the last several years of revenues being less than expenditures has to be more. So this will take care of the short term. It will take care of the short-term issue of the fund balance. It won't take care of the long term. So something else besides this movement of excess cash will need to be considered going forward.
Commissioner Edwards, do you have any questions for Steve Alonzo?
No, sir.
I just want to hear from you so everybody can hear. We do need to change our software.
Yes. Well, creates a significant impairment on the auditor's office to try and get accurate time information. It's very cumbersome. Okay? That software, to me, is not intended to do what y'all need. You know, does it work? Yeah, it works. It's tough. It's tough stuff.
And I believe Rusty agrees with that.
And I've spoken with another company. I want to speak to several more.
I know we
do.
So if we don't have any further questions for Steve, we'll let him go on his way. No more questions, gentlemen?
Folks, I certainly encourage y'all to invite me back to a future meeting. Just a couple miles up the road, I'd be happy to come back and any future meeting if y'all need
I'll
something.
bring it back. You need to come back when we discuss this again.
Right, sure.
Thank you, Steve.
Okay, folks, let me know if I can help. I appreciate the work. Look forward to visiting with y'all again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
y'all.
Commissioner Bruns and Jose. Jose's not here. You're Jose today.
Yeah, Patty.
Stand up, Jose. Tell us.
Hello. Okay, so you have on the agenda is for our striker co-care services and our contract with them. The last one was for 5 years, it's come up, and Jose showed and worked with them. They cut it back down to 3 years, just due to the fact that they changed the sport and stuff, so like that's when I asked questions. A new commission for whatever it is, we like every 2 years. Okay, so, do y'all have it? The contract with y'all?
No.
I'm gonna talk to, this was actually put on the agenda, too long ago. On May the 11th, but it was not used by the, attorney, so it was taken back. Okay. And, so now we've gotten it, it's a 3-year contract, and basically they come out, they come out and look at our monitors that are very expensive, they replace things that need to be done. Just vendor services, of course, by the actor doc, anything like that. But it is, over $9,000, and they break it down to the 3 years, so.
3 years.
Yes, so 20, 21, and 22. I'll let y'all look at it, and then,
And I believe, Jose had a, line to bring that out of.
I'm thinking, so we're having to move a lot of money around.
Yeah.
Imagine that, right?
Right.
This was submitted to my office back in April the 15th, and so the director and myself entered into some negotiations to make it legal for the county to adopt. And so paragraph 18 was added, which was basically that non-appropriation clause. I gave the county the appropriate money for this thing. We can write the contract. That was not in the contract in the beginning, and so that's what the delay was, 30 days getting it back on the court.
And then also the summary will be on that very first page of it, and break it down.
If there's no further questions, can we get a motion on this?
I'll make a motion, we approve this contract.
Second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Discussion on policies for Goliad County, Commissioner Bruins.
Yes, we've been instructed that we go over our policies and procedure, I guess, manual, and on some different things on maybe time clocks and pay, things like that. So we were told it'd probably be best to get some suggestions from TAC. So I didn't want everybody calling them all at one time to get this done. That's the reason I put this on the agenda. It's not a action agenda item. It's I think what we need to do is maybe invite our human resource TAC person and put it on the agenda about some of the questionable policies. Is that?
I think you're right. I think our P&E manual is severely lacking.
The last time it was changed was 2016 is what it shows. So, there has been some other policies, I think, done or changed, but it hasn't been updated. So we need to update it and maybe word some of the other policies the way maybe the HR TAC person suggests.
So is that something that we can do in an executive session as opposed to beating it up in Commissioner's Court? It's not going to be a quick deal to go over.
And I agree there too.
Okay. When you get some date.
Not in executive?
No.
We can't do that in an executive.
No. That's no court. You're discussing policies.
Right, well, I don't know if they even need to come down here. I mean, just give us some suggestions.
You can post it as a meeting, and
Right.
whoever wants to come down. Yeah, you can have a special meeting,
Yeah.
of Commissioner's Court.
That'll work. That's fine.
Show up to hear.
We can do that.
Like a training.
You want to set that up? As far as if I get a date and.
Treasurer do you wanna notify them?
Yeah, I get it.
Maybe give them a copy of our policy book and, let them go over it and give them some time to, make some suggestions on notes.
I'm sure they can bring us a policy that was adopted by other counties.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
That's already, there's no reason to invent the wheel when it's already done somewhere else.
Okay,
Because ours is severely lacking.
right, yeah.
And I do know, David, that some policies have been changed because in EMSs, when we hire a new employee, we have to, have to read in everything. And the sections, it has been changed, but the section is still in there about our full-time pay time, jury pay. I think the court voted to, those that have been over
Yeah, I read that.
15 years, it changed, but it still has the higher at the way that it was 3 years ago.
And that's one of them I read through that.
Yeah, so we don't have a first out, second out anymore, and that's not what's in our ordinance.
All right, so Treasurer's gonna, get some dates, and then we'll set a special meeting, invite the public, and we'll sit down and start cutting it up, do what we need to do to fix it. San Jose Cemetery, Commissioner Bruins.
I think I've got that resolved. We had a cemetery, which I didn't even know was there, back in some people's property that they had some trouble of people coming in and they're out of there at night, which we don't think it was the people visiting the grave sites. We think it was, people, picking up illegals along a high line that they were traveling. I had the only question I have about this is they have one sign that reads, cemetery, access from 9 in the morning to 6 in the evening. No guns, no, firearms, no alcohol. I wanted to add to this sign, but I don't see anywhere where the county is, obligated to pay for anything on this sign. So what I have told the landowners that they should move the sign to the highway and they should add to it. They really ought to get some wording added to it, but I don't think the county can pay for a warning sign entering private property to a cemetery.
Yeah, the only county cemetery I'm aware of is over Goliad.
Well, this is not a county, it's,
That's what I'm saying. This is not owned by the county, so the county can spend money.
but we do, provide, we haven't on this cemetery, road repair to them. If there's any, cemeteries on out in, it's a big cemetery, but it's just out in the middle of a guy's pasture. At one time, it went along a county road, but the county road was closed. That's why it is where it's at. It's not a good spot.
No action on this?
I'm guessing, no, we can't help them with the sign, so I'm guessing there's no action.
Item number 6, discussion action on Commissioner's Court agenda packet. Commissioner Bruns?
Okay, again, this week, as I asked before, if we could get our packet a little earlier in the week, we turn in, the last item is due on, at 2 o'clock, usually on the Wednesday, the week before the meetings. And one day before Memorial Day weekend, we got it at 4:45 on a Friday. And then this last week, we got it at 2:30, this last Friday. And
Allow me to tell you what my office does. We post it on the website. It's Wednesday evening or Thursday evening, I suppose. We have no control over when we get the remainder of the packet from treasurer's and auditor's office. So when she waits to mail it out that long, she's trying to wait on the remainder of the packets. But from now on, we're not going to do that. We're just going to send it.
But to be honest with you, Lee sends us our checklist and Christina sent us our payroll list Tuesday.
Well, sometimes the payroll isn't ready when.
I know, but those were all ready. They were all done. I don't think Pam doesn't send us those 2 items. Lee sends us.
Well, at one time I think we were, but we posted on the website immediately. So I feel like that we've met all the legal requirements at least.
Right, that's the agenda, but
Right.
in our packet, we were supposed to receive, sometimes we'll receive other information that goes with the agenda items, contracts, exactly, and different things. That, there again, we don't have time, and I'm sure she has that information at the same time on Wednesday that all the agenda items are turned in. So, and one time on a Tuesday, she wasn't gonna be here on Wednesday, and she got our packet to us that Tuesday evening when they were due Tuesday at 2. So that's all I'm asking for. Lee does a great job of sending us our checklist, and Christina's done a great job of sending us our payroll list.
You didn't get them, you were opining that you didn't get them until Monday morning at the last Commissioner's Court meeting, the checklist.
Well, there was one meeting that we did get them late, yeah. But otherwise, they were all pretty good.
Okay. We'll continue to work on it. So what is your request?
Well, I'd like to make a motion that we have this packet to us in email or printed out some, I think Commissioner Morales likes it printed by, if it's due Wednesday at noon or 2 o'clock, I would think we could have these packets by Thursday at noon. And, or if the days change on the meetings and, or the due dates, then the next day at noon.
We will set a target of Thursday at noon.
I think I made a motion.
Well, I'm just telling you that my office will set a target at noon, and y'all can make the motion you want to make. See, this is one of those deals where we're complying with the law. So if you say you want it Thursday at noon, I'll find out all the reasons why it can and can't happen and work on that. But we're required to post the agenda and we do that. So,
But there again, it's not the other information that we need to, if we need to do a little homework on a agenda item at 4:45 on a Friday, on a holiday weekend, how can I do that?
A good example too was last commission court meeting. I came to court at 10 to 9, and after court, I opened my email and I've got a message in there from Christina for the payroll that we voted on. I hadn't seen it. I mean, if you get it at 20 minutes to 9, it's just not enough time. There was nothing wrong with it. Had there been, I wouldn't have known.
And if something like that happens, you can not extend the payroll till Friday that prior week.
Like this week, she had it like Tuesday or something. It was
done.
See, I didn't even know that it was, wasn't aware.
Sometimes we run into problems and trying to find out why the time clock doesn't match the FMS deal. You gotta dig into it and find it. It'd be $300 off. Are we gonna short somebody $300, or is it tied in?
No,
between
it's just,
6 people? Because software just absurd, so you have to break it out. Sometimes payroll goes perfect, and we have it done by Wednesday. Next time, she may have other things that she needs to get done before she figures out the problem. It may not be done until Friday or the next Monday. And that's why when we push this payroll back a week, it gave us some time to run into the problem, to fix it. So that's, sometimes the court comes in Monday, payroll isn't done yet, we still have another week. So, there's scenarios that can happen.
but you can approve that payroll in arrears, so. All right, so if you want to make a motion, I encourage you to do that.
yeah, I made a motion that we receive our packet with all the information, contracts, et cetera, by at least noon or 2 o'clock. We'll say 2 o'clock Thursday or the day after it was turned in.
Okay.
That's a 24-hour.
When did you get it this week?
Got it at 2:30 on Friday.
I don't necessarily believe that's acceptable.
Well, I have the email. When
I said, I don't believe it's acceptable. I didn't say I don't believe you.
That's a motion?
Thank you.
You made a motion, you want a second? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Review and award road and bridge material and seal coat bids. Lee?
I emailed all those bid tallies to the commissioners for them to review and make their decisions on who gets the award.
I noticed that, the rock trucking wasn't as high, was a little higher.
No, this is on the seal coat bids. This is on the seal coat bids. That's another item. That's another item coming up.
This is on the seal coat.
This is on the seal coat.
Oh, still, yeah, I'll go with HC.
Okay,
I got nothing.
okay. You got this copy?
Yes, I have it in the email. I looked at it already. It was actually lower than last year because the oil prices have gone down.
Right, correct.
Yeah. What's your pleasure?
I go with the lower HC.
Yeah, I'll make a motion, put in form of motion to accept, H&C as our, contractor for seal coating this year.
Second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. The next deal, I wanted to talk about the lawn, around the courthouse.
Judge, And then we have both the seal coat and the road and bridge package. Road and bridge, it's like 11 pages, we have start on those people that were the road price.
I misread it. It was seal coat bids and road and bridge material also, I'm sorry. So the road and bridge,
You get the road and bridge stuff.
Yeah, there was this Atascosa material.
That was a new bidder, Leah, that came in? Atascosa Materials?
I'm sorry, for this.
Atascosa Materials is a new bidder that came in?
Yeah, yeah. I don't know if they've ever bid before. No.
No.
We had a couple more this round than we did.
Correct. And the ones with the stars is a low bidder on that particular portion?
Correct.
You see it there?
Yeah, I saw them, several weeks ago.
If everybody's good with it, I'll entertain a motion to accept the bids as presented on this tally sheet.
second on that.
And that means we're gonna go with Atascosa material on some of them?
They're cheaper on some and some of the other ones are cheaper on others. It just make a motion to adopt as it is. I mean, if say for instance, if Atascosa Materials can't handle what we want to get or can't, whatever, for whatever reason, we can go to the next vendor.
Well, that was my only worry, was we don't know them, and we know that the rock trucking is pretty dependable getting material. At a bad time of the year when everybody's using them, they always manage to supply what we need.
Mm-hmm.
That would be my worry with the new cut. We won't know we're trying, but if he can't do it, we are able to go to the next one.
Correct. If you adopt them as presented.
Okay.
If they can't help you, you go to the next one.
Okay, so you want to go by whoever has the star next to them, and then whoever was second would be the next person in line if they can't. Okay.
Yeah, adopt them as is, and then the only exception would be that one company, B and G, the one with the sandstone note on it.
That's sandstone, that's not
I don't
limestone.
know if they were cheaper on some of the portions of that stuff or not, but it's noted on the sheet that it's a sandstone-based limestone, which is different than what the other one is.
Yeah, I don't know what the differences are.
But there is a difference. There is a difference. There is a difference. It's all sand-based, but I mean, there's a totally difference between the one that he's calling sand-based, and it's a difference in the material. It's the same material, but it's the way they mix it.
Okay, so who do you want to go on that one then?
Uh,
They're actually quoted on the actual product on the bid.
Well, on that sandstone, I don't think any of us use it.
you probably won't order it
We won't ever use it. Because it crushes it, turns to powder.
real quick, real fast, so. I'm not gonna use it, the sandstone-based limestone. I've had good luck with what we've been using. Which one was that on, I'm looking at?
It's a pit run, I think.
Well, they got it here on the crushed limestone base, 3/4 of the dust. Yeah, that'd be the only question, Lee. I mean, they wouldn't, I'm not gonna use them, I mean,
That's fine, I just didn't know who to let me know who got the bid. So,
I mean, and I guess he noted that as to you or to y'all, or when he sent the bid sheets back, that it was a sandstone-based material.
yeah, that's what they, they got the bid package, they didn't want to go through it, so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, that would be the only exception to adopting as that is, because you got those two starred on those two different types of limestone there. In there as being the low bidder, but it's a sandstone-based material. And I'm not gonna go that route.
So you just want to exclude that company from the,
I don't think we can do that.
well, I mean, as far as
We just,
selections?
as far as, we don't have to, I don't think we would have to buy from them. I mean, they can be on the vendor list, but we don't necessarily have to
Right.
purchase from them.
I'm just looking for a motion.
I make a motion, we accept these bids.
Yeah, I had made that already, but
Oh, I'm sorry.
with
I'll second it then.
with the exception of the, not using, well, not, how would I word that? Council?
They didn't meet the requirement.
They didn't meet the minimum requirements.
Just exclude them from the, need a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, back on the lawn. I need to know what we can do to get the yard cut here. What, I was told that when I sent Martinez over there, he said that our lawnmower was broke, and that's the last I've heard from it. So I asked the sheriff to cut it with an inmate yesterday, and they did.
Do we have a maintenance person still, or not?
We do not. We have a maintenance person I can call to mow the grass if I have a lawnmower to do it with.
I thought the courthouse had a lawnmower. Didn't they have a lawnmower at one time here?
That's that John Deere, it's pretty much wore out. I know I spent some money on it this year, and it ran maybe one more time, and it starts doing it again. Gets hot, it quits. And I took it to Shoppers, and they went through it, and it's to the tune of about $400. Didn't get much.
We have monies in the account, courthouse monies to buy a lawnmower?
We have one on the line item. I'm afraid to spend any money. I mean, I've known what y'all heard for 2 weeks now, and or a week and a half, and it's just, we don't have a lot of money. So if we got a lawnmower that we can use, that'd be my preference. Who normally cuts the
When there wasn't a maintenance man, the precincts would share that situation of mowing the lawn,
okay.
and the other annexes as well,
Okay.
when there was not a maintenance person to do that.
We really don't have a maintenance person. We had a guy that was changing filters and mowing some and doing the things, but I think he's lost interest,
So we don't have one.
we don't have one now, but if I called him today, he would come mow the grass. Maybe. If he heard his phone ring. It's not a good situation. We took what we could get.
Okay, so what you want us?
I want to know
you want
whose
the
responsibility it is to mow the grass around the courthouse and the hospital.
I did get the hospital and the jail mowed this week, or last week.
Old jail. Old jail.
old jail.
Yeah, the old jail, the JP office.
So is that your responsibility, or is it, whose responsibility is it to mow the grass around the
It
courthouse?
would be, to me, there's always been the courthouse maintenance person.
Okay. Well, short of not having one of those,
Then the precincts have been sharing it, like I said a while ago, when nobody was here to do it, we would share that.
I've been doing it in the past, but
And I've done it over the years too, in the past, my men and his men. So, I mean,
we don't have a blower.
I have a blower.
Well, good for you. We don't. Ms. Gloria was sweeping the sidewalk at 6:15 this morning.
Nobody asked me nothing. I got a blower. They can welcome to use it if I'm not using it.
Well, it's not practical for us to drive to Berkeley to get a,
I understand your point, yes, sir.
okay. Do you have our blower?
I have a blower, yes.
It's not ours, though. It's
Not
yours. Okay. Will you mow our grass for us?
Do I mow?
I said, would you mow our
Would you
grass?
mow it?
Can y'all get this worked out and mow the grass on the courthouse lawn?
We can share it. I mean,
I thought you had a line for a part-timer to do this.
I did have a part-timer. He didn't work out very well. I kind of am conflicted as to whether to hire another maintenance man right now, till I find out where we're at with the rest of this stuff. We're short on dollars. So I'm just asking y'all to mow the grass, or park the lawnmower here and I'll mow it before I walk in here in the mornings. I mean,
And also, I heard through the grapevine that the city wouldn't, they're wondering if the trash cans around are ours to dump or theirs, and so does anybody Have you heard that, or?
I'm not connected to the grapevine, and they have not called my office.
Who pays for the lighting on
Who pays for what?
the lights on the corners?
On the city streets?
Well, they're actually on the corner of the courthouse lawn.
Well, the city replaced the lights,
Right,
so I'm assuming they're paying
they're paying
for them.
so it would be their trash cans.
Well, that brings up another point. I had a call from Earl last week about who owns who owns the property from the sidewalk to the street. And they're wanting us to take over picking up the trash from the corners and weeding the corners, and I didn't even go there about watering the plants in those pot plants, but he's trying to get us to take all that on too.
I'm sure the counselor knows a lot more than I do, but most of the time, the property between the sidewalk and the street is owned by whoever owns the street.
I don't know what that has to do with trash pickup.
That's where the trash cans are, they're between the streets.
Well, he was one of those
But
people.
the city provides trash.
But I mean, if I'm gonna mow it, I'm gonna mow the
You
street.
pay water and sewage.
Okay.
That's part of-
Wouldn't you?
You get his trash.
I'd do the whole thing.
I'm not gonna leave that strip out there. That's what I told him, but.
That's absurd.
So we're gonna share the mowing capabilities until we figure out if we're gonna hire a maintenance man or not?
Well,
Or what are we gonna do, commissioners?
I'll mow it till I can't. But if I'm just like right now, we're snowed under trying to get the roads mowed from the rain and everything.
Mm.
It is so. See, you got it mowed Friday, right? It's weed eating or is it
We
done?
mowed yesterday.
But if you can't get it 1 month, let me know and I'll get my man to come here and mow it.
Okay.
Okay, so for now, the commissioners are gonna take care of that.
Is that okay with you, Commissioner Bruce?
I don't have a lawnmower, so, well, we do, but it's not a very good one, so.
Okay.
Probably my 3 guys are not gonna come in and mow. We have,
Does Commissioner Precinct 3 have a lot of riding more?
Why are you asking me?
I'm just asking, I don't know either. I don't know, I'm just asking a question.
You want me to ask him?
No, never mind.
Okay,
Judge,
all right.
Judge,
Yes.
before we go any further, we have a break.
Sure. We're gonna adjourn for a few minutes, break time,
Did we ever decide on that?
sir.
Did we decide on this deal?
We decided that y'all are gonna cover it for now, and
Okay.
look, I'm happy to mow the grass. There's just a lot of mornings I can't.
It doesn't bother me now, I'm just asking questions.
Mowing grass is therapeutic for me. You got my dog?
Okay.
How are you?
Question for you. As a taxpayer, where is he?
I don't know.
He's not on the phone?
Today's not my day to watch it. I'm not being a smart aleck. I do not know where he's at.
Yes.
Any idea?
He did not call me.
He didn't call me.
Isn't it a requirement?
I know where he is.
I don't know where he's at.
Does he miss a lot of meetings?
He hadn't been to the last 2 that we had up in the big courtroom. He was on the.
He was on the
phone.
Does he still get paid?
Yeah. And just before you get all lathered up, there's no rule, I'm just telling you that there's a lot of rules that exist in government. One of them is that he doesn't have to show up ever again, he'll still get paid.
Okay.
I'm not telling you it's right. We're here.
Well, if we're discussing a line item on, on there that happens to do with him, should he either be on a Skype call or something so he can defend his actions?
He asked that.
His actions to us.
Yeah, he asked that we not take action on any of that, but it's up to the court, not me and him.
Kind of curious.
So,
This should be, did you mute this? Or-
It's actually still rolling.
Okay, well, that's good. It'll give somebody a laugh 20 years from now.
I wasn't sure when you were gonna resume and kind of catch me off.
We're gonna resume as soon as Mr. Edwards gets back.
received criteria.
You're good, you're good.
My taxpayers are paying the salary, they can show up.
I didn't make that law, by the way, and I don't agree with it. I don't. All right, we will reconvene. Commissioner Morales?
Yes, sir.
Discussion action ordering the county auditor to transfer $15,000 contingent and uncommitted fund to the building repair fund in precinct 2 for architecture and engineering for the new EMS building.
Yes, Judge, we had approved to transfer funds from the contingent uncommitted of 15,000 to, commence with the architectural and engineering fees for new EMS building, and that has not been done as of yet. And I think at that time we had stated to create a new line item for that $15,000. I don't know where we're at on the status of that.
Well, let's talk to the auditor.
Yes, sir.
He can tell us.
It's,
We sent them an email back, I think, when this first came up, explaining why we could not set up a new line item.
okay.
Building repairs doesn't encompass architecture fees.
So how are we gonna prepare monies or get a budget for this new budget coming up, new budget year coming up on the EMS building? Because as we all know, they need a place to go better than what they have there currently. Because we need to get, as you had stated before, Judge, that we needed to get some numbers for this new budget so we can get prepared to do whatever we need to do to get them housed. So how are we gonna move forward with this?
Are you talking to me or?
Everybody, right here, everybody's listening.
Well, we've tried to work with you on creating a line for the architecture for the EMS building. And you said you can't do that.
And now you're saying you can't put it in the building repairs fund. So what fund can we put it in? Would you?
When we start the new budget process, we need to set up a line item for architecture fees.
What we're trying to do is to get some of this done before the budget process, so we have an idea of
what we're looking at.
What we're looking at, but we don't want to go hire an architect to do this with no funds to pay them. All we're trying to do is get some numbers together so that we can move this along in a fairly quick way.
So we can have numbers by the time we're creating our new budget, because we're already working on it. So we can have some numbers, not firm numbers, but close numbers to what it's gonna cost. And if we wait till the new budget comes in, it's not gonna help us to budget it in this year's budget. If we wait till after the budget is adopted, or we do whatever we're gonna do with the budget.
We're gonna balance it.
Well, that's fine. That's fine.
All right. Rusty, do you have any comment on that? Can you tell us where we can go with it to accommodate looking at what the cost may be, what the design may be, how much land they would need to do what they're talking about doing? Do you have land?
I have talked to the school district, and they 100% behind us on using a piece of property that they own currently. I haven't discussed details as far as purchase and or whatever the case may be on the property.
We're gonna have to buy it?
I didn't say that. We don't know. They were very excited about us entertaining them into this
The only
equation.
thing they told me to do was do it right. Do it right.
I agree with that.
We haven't discussed any details with them, whether we're gonna buy it, they're gonna sell it. They might even donate it to us. I don't know.
That's a good price.
So,
Do you have anything, Dave?
Let me do some more checking.
Sir?
Let me do some more checking. I will get back with y'all no later than the next commissioner's court meeting.
I'd appreciate that.
Okay.
We need to do this ASAP so I can get us a,
Do we need to make a motion to?
We're gonna table it until the next meeting. He said he would have an answer, so let's table it.
Because, I mean, you agree with me, we need some numbers for the budget coming up.
I always like to know what things are gonna cost, what it's gonna look like, and
That's what we need.
it's just step 1, 2, 3. That's the way it has to go.
Correct.
Somewhere down the line, we gotta quit kicking this down the road.
I know, that's why I want to move on with it, to get, so we get the numbers for this upcoming budget. And then we can go from there.
Why can't you put it in that line, where building and repairs, building and repairs?
Building repairs.
It's not building and repairs.
No, it's building repair.
Building repair.
So we'll take no action, we'll table it until the next meeting.
Yeah, I still think,
Clarification, my memory's not very good, so I know you guys have a better memory than I do. I thought you guys took action and declared it an emergency and amended the budget. And put a line item, a new brand new line item in there for the EMS building. And that amendment passed.
What was the-
It was filed in the clerk's office as part of the budget. Am I missing something here? Did you guys do that or?
We've discussed this so
No, we
much.
discussed-
I thought we made a motion to amend the budget with that EMS.
You declared an emergency when the initial move took place.
I didn't declare it.
Well, I mean, yeah, you called it an emergency, it was,
Yeah, but that's the other building. We're talking about this point here, about transferring the monies, the 15,000 for architectural and engineering fees.
I understand what
into-
we're talking
And we voted to create it and create a new line item to put these monies in. That was voted on and passed by this court.
That's right. That's right.
so
I mean, if you didn't have to go to the district clerk's
it's
office.
between you and the auditor. I would,
We made the
He's-
motion.
I understand that.
Now, Rusty sent me a letter saying that I made a fraudulent motion in creating that line because it wasn't an emergency to amend the budget. Is that correct? Okay.
But that money is budgeted.
So I'm not sure whether we were fraudulent or not in making the motion to create that line, put the money in for the engineering and architecture.
The problem is that Rusty's statement, Rusty doesn't get to decide. Commissioner's court makes a decision. If somebody is opposed to what the commissioner's court did in creating that line item and saying it wasn't an emergency, then a taxpayer can bring that to the attention of the district court judges. And that's how that, but Rusty has no say-so. He's not the arbitrator of deciding what is an emergency and what is not. The jury can make that decision, or a district judge can make that decision. But if no one gets to second guess whether or not it's an emergency.
so where we are now is he said he would have the information at the next meeting. And we're gonna table it and bring it up on the next meeting because we're tabling it. We're not taking no action. It has to come up on the next,
We haven't tabled it yet, Judge.
well, we're working on it. But you can do whatever you wish. What do you wish?
There again, I mean, we voted on it and passed on it to create a fund to put this monies in and strictly to be used for that purpose. And the counselor is saying that he's out of line doing that. So where do we go from here, counselor?
I would think, because the best way to handle this is like pretty much what you've already done. Number one, I would check with the clerk's office and make sure that that amendment's there, because that's the way I remember it. And I gave you the caveat about my memory. If that amendment to the budget's there based on my remembrance, then I would, next commissioner's court meeting, order the auditor to move the money uncommitted into that line item budget you guys created for the purpose of getting architectural fees. If that way that sets him up for contempt action, because now he's under a court order, and then we can proceed if he decides not to do that. So I think at this moment, I would just table it like the judges just recommended, then come back next commissioner's court meeting when you have all the information about your budget being amended and all that. There's probably a disc available in the clerk's office where you could hear the discussion of that particular agenda item. I'd recommend you all listen to it, and then add on the next agenda that you're gonna order him to take it out of contingent and put it in that newly created line.
Okay.
So I would recommend we take no action, we table it at this point so that it gets on the next agenda. Well, you don't want this on the next agenda. You could, don't take any action. Because this agenda item was taking it and putting it in building repair from the precinct too.
You'd have to change up the agenda.
Yeah, you need to change up the agenda item so it says that you're gonna now order him based on whatever took place back to 2 months ago.
The previous meeting.
Right, whatever it is that was.
Okay.
So what was the emergency again?
Pardon me?
What was the cause of this emergency?
The emergency was we had no EMS building. We were evicted out of the EMS building because of black mold. There was no way that the commissioners court could have anticipated that during the budget process. So we are in very undesirable quarters right now, the EMS building is. I talked to the, head of the EMS building.
That's a bit of a stretch. They had mold and, John, you be sure and tell me if I'm wrong, but y'all had mold in that building for several years.
Yes,
Is that correct? Yes or no?
yes, sir, it's correct. And what's interesting about that, can I elaborate?
Sure.
Okay, when we talk about mold in the building, it's always within the air conditioning. We've had Servpro come in there several times taking care of the mold. And then what happened after the hurricane stuff, we started having with the water coming up underneath there, got into what we call the caves. But significant, and the one thing that Servpro never could find is anywhere else in the building that the mold was there, except where the air conditioning does and some other stuff. And up above where the bathroom where it was in. That was a big.
So I guess the point I'm trying to make is this didn't come up all of a sudden. The mold has been there. And y'all finally got to the point where you've had to do something about it. And but it didn't come up overnight. Look, everybody wants this to happen. I shouldn't have said that. I think everybody ought to have a decent place to work. And I agree in that. I understand also there's rules we have to follow. We're gonna sort it out next time we meet, and I think y'all will get what you're
Yes, we
looking for.
will. That's the last time we're gonna work on it, the next time, and we're gonna get it done.
I understand.
Well, one other thing,
I'm not tired of beating this can down the road.
I'm not sure y'all are aware of it, but whole page up against health department where he's at saying, he's gotta give them 6 feet space in their bedrooms. 10 by 10 room. That's 2 beds, and they're requiring them.
Is this because of the COVID night?
Yes.
More, they're,
So all building codes are gonna require 6-foot space for everybody that lives in them?
Or separate rooms,
and that,
because you got 2 people sleeping in the same room.
That cannot
You got 2
stand
folks
over.
sleeping in the same room.
There's no way
what
they,
he's doing to make them happy for the time being is they're facing the walls when they sleep.
okay.
But now there's more. This weekend, they had to have somebody come in there and clean the ducts out for, I'm not gonna say mold,
Mildew.
mildew or anywhere, something they're making them feel bad. So we had to have the ducts out in that trailer house cleaned. Isn't that right, David? You know about it?
Yes, Jose had told me there was somebody coming
I
in.
mean, we really need to do something.
So what's your pleasure on this, gentlemen?
Like I said, you put it out there to table it and then take the necessary action the next
Not
meeting.
table it.
Don't table it, I mean,
We're gonna take no action, you're gonna have a new agenda item next time.
take no action, have a different agenda item on this issue, on the next agenda, Commissioner
Okay.
Court agenda.
Take no action.
And we'll check with the clerk's office to see what was exactly transpired at the previous meetings.
All right. Commissioner Bruins, discussion action regarding contract for remodeling auditorium restrooms, amount paid for said remodeling, and what line item the fund came out of to pay for the remodeling. Rusty, what line item did it come out of, or Lee? They want to know, what line item the auditorium bathrooms were paid for.
That was quoted building and repairs, the non-department, I believe.
And there was 49,000 in that line? There was 49,000 in that line at that time?
So we did a budget, a line item transfer.
Who would you transfer it from?
My salary.
Do you know what your salary was that year?
No.
This
I
is,
can get it for now.
I got it. This is from the,
Yeah, that,
This is from
that's
the-
what I gave you, was new thing. I mean,
it's been changed?
it was corrections.
Well, you gave me two. You gave us one on, November 21st, and then another one on, November 21st, and another one on December 6th.
Yeah,
And the one on December 6th showed that, I guess, all money was moved out of all line items to, the general fund, I guess, to balance the budget, which ours showed 100 also. That's why we always thought our money was taken out to,
Okay. Let me just
So,
give you the
well,
readers'
hold
digest first.
on, I'm not. So your salary for 2019 was going to be 47,800.
On the county side, correct.
That's correct. Now, Calhoun took 3 months of that.
That's correct.
That's correct. In October, you resumed after the new budget in 2000.
First fiscal year,
Taking your salary.
yes, sir.
And,
So I put
So-
9 months of my pay that I donated back to the county so that we could use it for something that would benefit the county.
Right.
So I guess I put $40,000 into those bathrooms out there out of my donated pay. I'm not
Well-
clear exactly what the question is.
well, it shows like 23, you got paid like 23,000. Well, that's taken off of the, 47, so,
I got 9 months.
about 15,000, right, 15, 25?
Excuse me?
That's around 25,000, I believe. 47, 25, that's about close to around 25,000. So then, well, on the same report you gave us, your stipend was, 25,400 for holding judicial.
That's correct.
Court.
That's correct.
Courthouse and county court. But it shows you got paid 62,000 for,
Well, it didn't show up in my bank account.
well,
I don't know what it shows. Let me tell you, I took my state stipend of $2,000 a month the entire time since I've been here. The first 9 months that I worked at this county, I got paid $1 a month. $1.
I saw that.
Okay. So what is the question?
Well, you're saying you paid, what we're wanting is is invoices. I know y'all gave us an invoice on the bathroom, but it wasn't a detailed invoice. It was just an invoice saying $49,000. Well, we paid $12,000 to this company, ahead of, and then the remainder was paid at the end of the work. So we never got a invoice, actually, that had a breakdown of the repairs. There was no, I don't even think we ever voted on repairing this bathroom. So,
I came to court with this twice.
yeah, you called me while we were at our classes that.
Right, and I was in this court twice talking about it, and you told me to do whatever I needed to do to fix it. I listened to the tape the other day. My God, I gave a year's salary away,
No,
9 months' salary away to this county and used it to repair the bathrooms that were not functional. They could not be used. They couldn't be cleaned. The electrical panels were falling out of the wall. There was no GFIs. There was raw sewer that dropped up that would back up on rough concrete. Commissioner Edwards had to dig up the line because it had been so long since anything had passed through that 4-inch line that it was full of roots. Now, I gave 9 months of my salary to fix that, and those bathrooms would still look like outhouses.
so why are we getting a report from the auditor that you made a extra $37,000?
Ask him, I don't know. I didn't make anything extra.
Ask me for those reports, we just finished the audit, the balance sheet audit. They have been amended.
But we didn't see that.
But all those invoices should have come through court. Nothing's paid without y'all's approval.
No invoice, it was a payment, there was a payment that came through court.
But every payment for those repairs came through court.
Right, after the work, and then when we asked for, invoices, and there nothing was ever given to us, so.
You keep on looking at me, I haven't had the invoices. I mean, I don't know what you want me to say.
So,
I don't know what you want me to say. I gave 9 months of my pay to help this county out.
so where did the extra money,
What extra money?
where did any of the money, because the county wrote the check, right?
The county wrote the check.
Personal check, right?
I did not write a personal check, no.
Okay, so where did that money come?
Out of my donated funds that I gave back to the county. Or I never, it wasn't a question of giving it back. That money got rat-holed into some line item. They told me they had to pay me $1 a month, $1 a month is what I was paid.
And there was that much money in building repairs?
Well, we transferred.
Out of
I'm gonna send
uncommitted?
you another report, and you're gonna see where the salaries decreased. And, building repairs increased. If you want copies of invoices, we can get you copies of it.
That'd be great.
So you think I made $67,000 or?
That's what it shows right here, I mean,
That's what it shows to you, sir. I'm not sure that's what it says. It just,
Printed it.
they put it in the line item. It doesn't mean that it came from me. They put it, I asked about it and Lee said that they just stuck it in the stipend line item. But it didn't have anything to do with me. I never saw the money. I get auto deposit. I don't know whether I get paid $1 a month or $4,000 a month.
Well, I'm just saying, it's here in black and white, and that was sent to us.
Okay. So what do you want to do?
Well, good question. You said there's a stipend line item?
I'm sorry?
You made a comment just now that there's a stipend line item?
I'm sure there is a line item to receive my stipend from the state. There is a line item.
Okay, so he didn't have a different budget line item?
No.
Okay, so it's county salary?
And supplement, yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
But that was put into the stipend, is that correct?
No,
That's what it shows.
He
It was just in this,
he made an innocent mistake, that's why I wanted to clarify. He was just he made an innocent mistake, so that's fine. Does the judge get reimbursed for mileage, or is there any other line items in there that?
No.
Okay.
that's salaries and supplement.
So the only thing that would go into his account would be the salary and the supplement. And
When
his
you
account.
add his account.
His personal account, any money that would come from the county would be from the county salary line
Correct, yeah.
and the supplement line.
Correct, yeah.
Now, I have turned in mileage a couple of times when I went to Lubbock and other places. I've turned in mileage.
Well, you have a conference in mileage.
That's right.
Okay.
I have turned in mileage. I don't want to get that or,
No, that doesn't come out of that account.
my God. This kind of breaks you of wanting to give money away to the county that you're trying to help. Are we done with this or we need to move on?
Yeah, I guess we're done. I mean, I was just going over some old paperwork and ran into it.
Are you satisfied or do you want more?
He said he was gonna get us some invoices and some,
So I can,
Another thing too is,
where the money came from.
any item that y'all question, we're gonna do a separate engagement letter with Harrison Alder from New Herrick.
Mhm.
And you can certainly look into any particular transaction as you question. Any purchase, any bid, in that period of time. Everything is fair game.
Well,
And that's when it needs to be looked at.
Okay, yeah, he had asked us for some different things, and then I had turned in some different questions, but
I guess
If that had come to me, I would have answered it.
my thinking is that we probably didn't handle this right either.
I probably didn't do the best.
Not just the court did. We probably should have accepted your salary as a donation and then put it in rather than you just put it where you wanted to, we put it into an account that we could put a number to and draw it out. And that might have been, it might have cleared some of this up had we done it that way. Accepted your salary as a donation, we put it in a line to be used for whatever, and pulled out of that line, and it would have made it clear all this up, you know.
And that's the way it should have been done. I agree.
I think that's how, but, you know, this is all, everybody here is kind of like our first rodeo with this, so we learned from looking back a lot. So I think that would have been the proper, or the better way to do it than we did, so.
So just for the record, I received $1 a month for the first 9 months I worked at this place. Not $1.01, $1.
Right, that's
And I got my insurance. And I donated that fund back to try to help this county.
I'm not saying you didn't, I'm just saying.
No action on this one. Commissioner Edwards, discussion action in regards to attorney's fees paid by the county since 2019, January 2019.
Yeah, so that's just some more house cleaning. I just want to see how much we have spent on attorney fees.
I think that Lee gathered that up for you, or I believe.
Clarification on what fees you're looking at.
Well, we got a lot of fees we paid.
Attorney fees, prosecuting state for indigent, or whatever you want to call it, event, so I don't know what attorney fees you're looking for.
I would say specifically for that the judge may have used. If the judge used any.
He wants to know if I paid for a private attorney in January 2019.
Private attorney?
Yes,
Or,
because I needed legal advice. So,
I'm sorry?
because I felt like I needed legal advice to conduct my duties as a judge. So I guess I don't understand the question.
That's it. I just want to see how much it cost us, if it did cost anything.
$1,700 and some change. That's not a round number.
And that was $1,700 that the county paid.
It came out of my budget, I think.
Did you verify that for us?
Off the top of my head, yeah.
I mean, what line item?
No, I couldn't off the top of my head what line item, but it would have come, like you said, out of his budget.
Anything else, sir?
No.
Discussion action on the status to repay the county for materials used to repair private road Deer Trail Lane by Commissioners White, Precinct 3. I think you have that information, Treasurer.
You can print that out and give it to you.
I'm sorry?
Can't print those checks out and give it. I emailed it to her.
You emailed it to me.
I emailed it to Pam.
I did not get them. I actually saw where, Pettiville and about 5 other people, they all wrote checks for $60. I saw it, but I mean, you can.
Mr. Davis, brought me checks from every person that's contributed in on that, road repair.
I don't have them.
They were on $60 a piece, and, we gave them bill 5 or 6 hours maintainer time. I showed Mr. Bailey, the residents of that road bought the gravel themselves, not through county money. And they paid for the hourly rate of $85 an hour, to have a gravel spread on that road.
We purchased the gravel and the landowners reimbursed us.
No, he didn't purchase the gravel. The landowner purchased.
How did we end up with checks for the gravel?
They didn't pay for the gravel, they paid for the maintainer time, labor. At $85 an hour.
All I can tell you is I saw the photocopies of the $60 checks. And I assumed it was for the gravel. It could have been, very well been the maintainer.
Maintainer time. The gravel was purchased by the residents on that road at Deer Trail.
But that's easily producible. I mean, I know they wrote those checks. I don't know if the numbers add up, but I know they wrote $60 checks and there was quite a few of them.
I know in one discussion we had, you had said that you had got the truck tickets together and had sent the bill out.
No truck tickets. I received checks for the maintainer, $85 an hour. We never paid for any gravel.
So we're saying that they were out there, you say 6 or 8 hours?
Or whatever minimum and a couple hours. What do you have, 4-hour minimum?
4-hour minimum.
4 hour minimum.
Okay.
Not free minimum, but 4 hour.
4-hour minimum plus a couple more hours, I believe, if I'm right. We're talking about something that's years
And
ago.
we're clear that the 4-hour minimum is not the first 4 hours free.
Sir?
Commissioner was really confused about what the 4-hour minimum is. He kept telling me the 4-hour minimum meant the first 4 hours were free to those. And the way I understand it, 4-hour minimum is you pay 4 hours whether you're out there 2 or you're out.
And then I probably have these in my email. I can tell you exactly what. Give me 1 second.
So if there was, 6 people that put in on the thing, that would be $340, which would be $85 an hour, 4-hour minimum. 85 times 4 is 340.
So that would, but if they were out there 6 or 8 hours, then they over.
I don't have any details on that. I was never out there. I didn't have a horse in a race. I have nothing to do with. I know y'all cut it up a good bit in this courtroom about what you were going to do before it ever happened. He brought it in here and y'all talked about it. I'm like Rob, I'm old and I don't remember everything, but y'all talked about it and it happened. I thought you even took your guys out there to train with them.
I finally did.
Okay, so.
We didn't give him permission to give anybody maintenance time, maintainer time or gravel. We can't do that.
I understand that.
I don't believe that's what happened.
I'll tell you what we can do. We can produce the checks. We can email the canceled checks to you. And that's the only, input I would have. I don't know any more about it than that.
I found the email. I have, an invoice that was charged to them. It's $425.04. I received a check for $60 from Robert Burnett. $60.72 from, it's like Corey Federville. $60.72 from Ron Bailey. $60.72 from, I don't know how to spell, say this guy's name, Pospech, Oski. Mr. George Cullick. And Santos Flores Jr. Burnett Custom Homes. We're at a total of $425.04.
That's the total for the maintainer.
Do you know who the trucking company was that hauled the gravel out?
That I don't know, because we didn't pay a bill out to them.
Nobody put on there that.
I'm sure Mickey knows.
The residents,
He ain't here, Judge.
No.
I understand we never wrote a check to the Trumbull County for gravel. The residents on Deer Trail bought the gravel.
Anything further, gentlemen?
Again, I mean, I don't know if you want to see all the paperwork related to that. He said he could email you all that checks and the
Please
invoices,
email it to me.
invoices and all that
Yeah.
stuff related to that.
So I'll record this as no action. Is that correct? Take no action or do you? Okay.
Just information.
Andy wants to discuss, certification completion required cybersecurity training no later than June 1st.
Yeah, that date is incorrect. It should be, the report submission is due June 15th, the training's due to complete June 14th. That's the training that everybody took out, mandated by the state, because of the House bill that was passed to do that. So basically, when you go to report it, the county has to designate a person to submit the report and say that we're in compliance. Right now, we're at about 96% compliance. There's 3 or 4 people that still need to get it knocked out. If it doesn't get complete by the due date, actually, I'm thinking about making the cutoff this Friday. If it's not done, I want to suspend logins, to restrict their computer access to the network. And then if they don't have computer access to the network, then I could certify that the training is done, and they will need to get it done before they get any access back to the network. I've been sending out emails. A lot of it's seen progress in the last couple of weeks. Some of it's still not being done. But I'm not going to certify to the state that we're compliant if we're not either at 100% or if we're not taking some measures to prevent those people that are untrained from accessing the network. So basically what they want is they just want the county to designate a person. It doesn't necessarily have to be me. I'm coordinating the training. I run the reports to see who's done it. You designate a person and I submit the report. But the reason I want to run the report is there's just a section on here that says, by checking below, you indicate you agree with the following statements. I certify that the local government is in compliance, and I certify that I am authorized by the local government to submit the certification. So that's why I want the approval to submit this report.
Okay.
That's what the agenda item is to designate me to submit the report to DIR.
Can we get a motion to that effect, please?
And these other subjects, excuse me, Judge, these other subjects that are employees that have not complied with the mandate, are they going to comply with it, or have we checked on them, or what's the deal with that?
I am in constant contact.
Okay.
How many have we got left, you said? 3 or 4.
If they don't do it, they'll get cut off.
And they're probably just employees with emails, because.
Have they indicated that they're going to take it, or do you know? You've been in contact with them?
I've been in contact with their supervisors, and I've emailed directly to the employees that haven't taken it. So, some of them are part-time EMS, so I don't know if they're going to take it or not. Jose has said that if they don't have it done by the 11th, he's basically going to remove them from employment by the county.
Okay.
So,
And those are the part-timers we currently still have, or there's some that I know have come and
they're not
gone?
very active.
Okay.
I checked the percentage, they just, a lot of the EMS employees, they bring them in, they do a write-out.
Yeah.
We give them an email address and computer sign in, and we never hear back from them. And 6 months later, I'll email them, Jose, who's still working? He says, you can take this one off. So I'm thinking maybe it's something similar to that.
So all the 4 are in that department or different departments?
The 3 of them are in EMS.
Okay. And those are all part-timers, from what you're saying?
I
right?
believe so. I don't know all their employment status, but they didn't look like the regular names that I'm used to seeing.
Okay. I'll make a motion that you be the designated person.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Andy is the designated person.
Thank you.
Does anyone have any public announcements they'd like to bring forth at this time?
I'd like to say that the city is going to, I think, take to their court about maybe starting up some of the auditorium suggestions on what needs to be done to the auditorium, yes. As far as the inside plaster and that. And then we'll have our meeting, and of course, we bring these to courts to vote, but, and then see where this money can come from to do this refurbishment.
Well, they're in the bidding process to do the repairs right now.
They are?
Yes, they are. I know that I told y'all, being a little, Pollyannish, I guess. I thought that the world was round all the time, and it's apparently not. I thought we would have the funds by the end of last year. It didn't happen. And then with this virus, everyone used that for a reason to just shut down government for months and months, especially at the state and federal levels. But they are now in the bidding process, and they have very specific things that they're gonna do. They're gonna fix that floor and put it back the way it was. They're gonna replace the plaster, and there's some other things that they're gonna do that escape me right at the moment. So before you,
Who's doing, well, no, we're not gonna make decisions, but that's good information that they.
Judy Langford is the grant administrator, and this is going through. That's part of her deal, and this is going, the GLO is ultimately the one that makes the decisions, I think, and they may have to get it signed off on at the federal level. This is not a quick thing, but we were awarded $723,000. He'll get his $200,000 for paving. They're working on that as well, and some of the things I saw I wasn't real pleased with, but we can talk about that.
Okay.
Any other public announcements? Need a motion to it. Mr. Gale.
I was wondering, we get appropriate $15,000 for EMS down the road, where we need to win buy land and put building up from. And we're having trouble buying lawnmower. I'm just thinking that I'm 100% really EMS needs to go. We should have done this 15 years ago for what we've had to do this. And that's one I'm thinking, Commissioner Court goes, when it goes to the hospital, we were having EMS here, probably, they take care of our health in Goliad County. So that's when they do that, long time ago. And they've done a good job, they said they've done done. And I think you keep on going, but you want to know where the money can come from. I mean, we're really, right now, 15,000. We're looking at 100,000. 6 months, 2 months now, I wasn't gonna talk to the land. If you don't need that, fine. We still got to build facilities.
Thank you, sir. Sheriff?
I would like to say that there was some, protests in Revere County. On Saturday, there was, they were not a large group, they, did not destroy too much stuff. It was also yesterday in Victoria, there was another group in Victoria. I can tell you that in Goliad County, I was here both Saturday and Sunday afternoon and evening, and there was no protest in Goliad County. So, I do want to say that Revere didn't have one in Victoria.
Is there anyone else? With that, I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you.